Good evening, everyone, and welcome in. Let me just get my green screen up. Today we're going to be talking about the Menendez case. Now, before we begin, one of the things I am going to say, and I'm going to say this outright, there is a lot of opinions on this case, okay? I am going to give my opinion on what I think about this case. People will disagree with me. All I ask is you to stay respectful in the comments. I will open up the boxes for you all once I've obviously run through all of this, because obviously I'm not going to go through the books, but I was just giving an example. I mean, in regards to the Menendez case, I do have a script that I'm working off, don't worry. I've read this. I have read this. And I have read this. So I'm not going based on public perception. I'm going based on facts. I'm going based on what we know. My opinions will come into this, but everybody is entitled to have an opinion in regards to this. I've got a bit of a biased opinion, I suppose, because of how long I've been following this case for. When this happened when I was 4. So, of course, I'm going to know a bit about the case. It has always been one of the most spoken about, highly controversial case that is out there, as you either believe prosecution or you believe defence, one of the two. And every opinion is valid. Like I said, all I do ask is if people can stay respectful in the comments, and that we just have a general discussion in regards to this. I don't want to turn this into an argument. We are talking about a crime that was committed. This isn't a, oh, but blah blah blah. Well, it kind of is, but it was obvious that the brothers did kill their parents. There's no denying this. Ultimately, towards the end of this, I'm going to quite ask you to put your opinions on this. I will answer any questions that do occur throughout the live as well. But I'm going to try, initially when I'm discussing this, I'm going to stick to being quite factual in regards to this, and then then you'll see a bit of my point of view, what I think in regards to this, what side of the fence I am on, because my initial account that I did speak about this on is no longer on TikTok. And I had been asked repeatedly to one of my OGs back on my hacked account. She'd asked me to discuss this. I kept saying that I would, and I now can't find her. And I'm absolutely gutted, because this would have been perfect for her to pop in and say what her views were on this as well. But unfortunately, when you lose an account completely, it's really quite difficult. Thank you so much, Floyd. And as well as this as well, like I'd always say to start with as well, if you see people in the comment section that you're not following, and if they're engaging, please drop them a follow, and they will follow you back when the live is over. They will pop over, hopefully, and watch maybe a video. If you are going to do that, watch the video and then hit the like and comment near the end of their video, because that gives them a real view as opposed to a partial view, and it also helps them get them on the For You page as well. So as well as me talking about this case, we are obviously creating a lot of community here, and I am going to quickly see if I can, why am I not able to share this? No, why am I not able to share this? I have no idea. For some reason, it's not allowing me to share. Oh, wait now. Here we go. I'm just sharing this out to a couple of people. If they want to come in, then they're more than welcome. Like I said, there is many people that have different opinions on this, and we are always able to have a difference of opinion if we have one, without it turning into, you know, a full-blown argument in the comments. So that is what I just like to say. Please, if you can, be incredibly respectful within this. So, like I said, anybody that's in the comment section, they're engaging, drop them a wee follow. We're building a community, we're supporting each other as well. Okay, so let's begin. I've also got the 911 call to go through as well. I've got that all locked and loaded in, and not this book, but I do. Hi Scallywag, thank you for popping in. I do have a couple of bits that I've marked in these two as well, and I'm so sorry. I hate that when other people do that ASMR thing. Thank you so much. So let's get into this and let's see what all this is about. And like I said, love to hear your opinion. Just please remain respectful in the comment section is all I ask. So the Menendez brothers case. Thank you, Macy. Lyle Menendez and Erik Menendez are American brothers who were convicted of murdering their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in the Beverly Hills home in 1989. The brothers' case is one of the most notorious and debated criminal cases in modern US history. On the evening of August the 20th, 1989, Lyle, then 21, and Erik, then 18, shot their parents multiple times with a Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns, which they purchased days before the murders. They purchased the weapons using cash, and thank you, and told the shop assistants they were buying weapons for target practice. Jose was shot 6 times, including a fatal shot to the back of the head. Kitty was shot 10 times, and evidence showed that she had tried to flee and was shot again while wounded. Oh, sorry, but I just got Bob's shadow like on my peripheral vision there. I do apologise. The shotgun pellets and trajectories showed the brothers had reloaded during the attack. Thank you, Skelly. After killing their parents, Lyle and Erik bought movie tickets. However, there is no solid proof that they actually watched a movie, but theatre staff did confirm that they had made 2 purchases of movie tickets. Media have hugely exaggerated, I knew what the word was when I was writing it down, the going out to eat. Brief stops out are documented, but not a full night out. This was part of an attempted alibi to suggest they were both out at the time of the murders. Lyle called 911 crying and said someone had killed his parents, and I'm going to play you the 911 call now.
Beverly Hills emergency? Yes, please. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Sorry, I'll restart this.
Beverly Hills emergency? Yes, please. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? Somebody killed my parents. Pardon me? What? Who? Are they still there? Yes. The people... No. Were they shot? Yes, man, were they shot? Yes. come on. We're trying to get to you further. Other units responding. Is the person still there?
What happened? We have units around. What happened? Who shot who?
I don't hear anything.
You came home and found who shot?
Mom and Dad. You know if they're still in the house, the people that did the shooting.
Okay. Hey, let me talk to Erik. Who is the person that was shot?
My mom and my dad.
Your mom and dad?
My mom and my dad.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, we're on our way over there with the ambulance.
Okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
Oh.
Hello, this is police department.
Yes.
Okay, I want you to come outside. Okay, just come out the front door and
I'm gonna my brother.
Okay, actually, to follow that on, it's a direct examination to this. Yes, Scully, that's something that I did actually say as well. I mean, a lot of people believe the defence and what the brothers have claimed. They feel that there was some holes in some of the argument that was done. But we'll get into that, I promise. Now, obviously, like I told you, before this, they had purchased movie theatre tickets to go to the cinema, although there's no proof on whether they stayed. They didn't go out for the big extravagant meals that you see on Netflix, Monster, the Menendez case. So that was obviously false. There had been brief stops, so that was very brief stops along the way, as opposed to it being a specific elongated stop. Ultimately, they were going around to ensure they were seen, because even though it was 1989, the CCTV, as much as it was in its infancy, it was, it did pull the heartstrings quite a considerable amount as well. I've watched it a couple of times, and like there's parts of the Netflix story that obviously did annoy me a little bit. Like I said, the going out for the big lavish meal, that never happened. They had brief stops. They elongated their time of when they shot their parents to when they came back to call 911, and they made sure there was receipts, but it was multiple receipts, so not just two stops like what they made it out in the Netflix series. It was multiple. They sort of drove around a little bit as well. Now, one of the things that prosecution did push for, they said there was a financial motive that was involved here, and that was due to the fact that they did find out in the months after the murders, the brothers had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on luxury cars, watches, restaurants, travel, and tennis coaching. However, tennis coaching was already happening. This was done with Jose. You see pictures and videos of Jose and Lyle together, and the bits and bobs of Erik. I get confused with the two. Apologies. But you see that the pictures, the Polaroids are there, the little videos, clips and stuff of them getting on and off, like, you know, first class things. That was what was commonly done with the brothers anyway. And we actually found out, and this was recent our findings out actually, that their expenditure that they had done after they had murdered their parents was actually less than what they had been spending previously. But prosecution very much said they were heirs to a multi-million-dollar estate, and the estate estimated $14 million at the time. I do as well think they should be released again. Like I said, we're all entitled to this opinion, whether we think that it should be released or not. And happy to have this back and forth discussion and obviously find out what your opinions are on this as well. Because it's important to obviously have these conversations, because it has been highly talked about since. Obviously, people will see that expenditure as being frivolous, that they were just spending money willy-nilly. However, they already had access to a considerable amount of money, and a lot of their things that they were doing were pretty much the same as what they had been doing when Jose and Kitty were actually alive. But they had actually said, that's fine, we're angels, I'm glad you're here. And a lot of them, the expenditure was a little bit less as well. Prosecution will argue the fact that it wasn't, it was a financial basis that it was. Defence says otherwise. And we're now going to realise that there's been some receipts to prove that the expenditure was a little bit less than what it had been previously. And obviously, like I said, thank you for the and the prosecution had also said that this supported their financial motive theory, whereas defence said this went about the same before the murders, which we actually now know was actually they spent a little bit less after the murders. Well, it was only a few months. Now, we have though, and we obviously go on to the confession and arrest, and this is between September 1st, 1989 and December 1989. Erik began confessing to friends and later to his therapist, Dr. Jerome Ozell, on the 31st of October 1989. Upon him admitting the killing, or the involvement in the killing, nine 20 coming up for 26 years that they've been inside for now. But they had been, as soon as they were arrested, they've not been out. But we'll get to that, promise. Now, so Ozell started to secretly, it was 36, excuse me, I'm clearly still tired, and I'm not doing my math quickly, and you refuse to believe that I'm this old, so I apologise, me getting my math wrong. Now, these sessions, like I said, were secretly recorded. Thank you for the follow. And then his girlfriend, Judalyn Smith, had spoke to the police on the 5th of March 1990 to say that the brothers killed their parents. Wasn't the mafia, because that was the initial, story. Oh, it was a mafia job. It was a mafia hit, sorry. But it was clear from the fact that it was overkill, ultimately. 6 shots, 10 shots, there's been reloading that's going on. It is overkill in this regard. And also Kitty had also tried to escape. If this was mafia, it would have been in the back of the head, and that would have been it. I digress, sorry. But the police knew there was somebody involved, and it would be on the 8th of March 1990 that the police actually seized the recordings from Ozell's office. And Lyle had later threatened Ozell to keep him quiet, which pushes the prosecution saying that this was a premeditated murder. On the 8th of March 1990, Lyle was arrested outside the family home, and Erik surrenders on the 11th of March 1990 after returning from Israel. The brothers remain in jail for over 3 years on remand, whilst the courts decide on the admissibility of the tapes and Ozell's testimony. Whilst in jail, this would be when Erik began to tell his psychiatrist of the abuse he suffered from his parents as a child. And this obviously made prosecution question this a little bit more. But I can see where a trauma response may come into play here as well. So if we go for fact-wise of what the DA had seen. What they have seen is two young men. They have killed their parents. They have made up an elaborate lie. They tried to get an alibi. They said it was the mafia. They spent a considerable amount of money. They were due to inherit $14 million. The prosecution saw all this as, well, if this had been a case of sexual abuse or emotional abuse, then they would have been a bit more upfront and honest. Bad word to use, but it's just because of the amount of times that I've heard the different DAs obviously saying that specific thing. They'd have been a bit more upfront about this. Then speak to you later, Macy. Thank you for popping in. About this, then they may have taken it a little bit more seriously because this was the special defence that defence had stated, of course, after the psychiatric evaluations and then the abuse claim came to be. And there was also that, could it have been the fact that they had conversed with each other, etc., but there would have been no way that they could have done any conversing with each other to, make it seem more obvious. But defence attorneys could have, in prosecution's mind, defence put this into Lyle's head. And, then defence, that actually begins to crumble a little bit. And at that point, they need to get that little bit of, proof in regards to any sexual abuse. There had been somebody from a boy band that had came forward to say that Jose had been inappropriate with him. And as we all know from the likes of Sean Diddy Combs and Harvey Weinstein, and even as far as Jimmy Savile, if you're in, or it was just examples, was only if you're in the public spotlight, you're seen as you've got money, that you've got, a little bit of something behind you. A lot of what is obviously reported is hidden. And at the time of this, when it came to sexual abuse on males, a lot of people thought, yeah, that never happens, that doesn't happen at all, that is unheard of. People automatically assume when it comes to parental sexual abuse, it is against it's a father against, hi Sarah, it is a father against a female, so their daughter. So male sexual abuse wasn't really discussed then. It was a bit of a taboo. You never spoke about it. You never wanted to speak about it. So a lot of people automatically went on there, I'm not quite sure about this. I kind of disbelieve this. And we had then the first trial, which did begin on the 20th of July 1993. Prosecution claimed the brothers killed their parents for the estimated $14 million inheritance. Thank you for the follow, and thank you as well for all the taps. Defence claims that after a lifetime of emotional and sexual abuse, the brothers were convinced that their parents were about to kill them, to silence them for what they had endured, and they had killed their parents in self-defence. On the 13th of January 1994, after 106 hours of deliberations, both of the juries were in deadlock. It was 2 hung juries, and the judge declared mistrials. On the 26th of January 1994, Los Angeles District Attorney Jill Garcetti announced that the brothers will be retried for first-degree murder. The second trial began in October 1995. This time, the brothers would be tried together. There would not be 2 juries on this case. The presiding judge limits much of the abuse evidence the defence wanted to present. The jury did not hear as much as the first trial. It is a belief by myself and many that this was due to the O.J. Simpson case, where Simpson was found not guilty of 2 counts of murder. All eyes were on the trial. Prosecution needed to put someone away, someone behind bars, someone to be held accountable for a heinous crime. They felt that the brothers' case, because it had been highly publicised with the first trial, it was clearly going to be a very much highly publicised trial. This was a second highly publicised and highly watched trial in 1995 with the O.J. Simpson case. They were desperate, and omitting evidence in our trial, I believe, is wrong. If there is evidence to prove something had happened for a special defence, all evidence should be presented before a jury. As if anybody that is on a jury, they go by facts, they go by evidence. If there's enough evidence, then it is something. The first jury had their doubts. Once I go through this little bit, I'm actually going to go through some of the jury's bits and pieces, what they had actually put out to us as well in regards to the first trial, because there's a lot more in regards to that. But things like the sexual abuse, a lot of it was mellowed down. It was, we'll not talk about this. We'll just brush it under the carpet. We're going to present this as 2 boys that were 3 years apart. All they wanted was the 14 million. Netflix and their, thank you for the follow, Netflix and their, we're going to make it out that the will was locked in here, or that they were written out. There's never been any proof of that ever anywhere. Netflix obviously did that because they just wanted to beef out what they were talking about. Of course, that's absolutely fine. Listen away. Thank you for being here. Now, the Menendez brothers case, it was utterly perfect for this, as there was no doubt of who did it, like I did state at the start with. Obviously, the question as to why, and did they deserve life in prison without the possibility of the parole. The high-profile case needed a guilty, which is why, in my personal opinion, the abuse evidence was limited and a lot was omitted. On the 20th of March 1996, that's fair, and I will obviously discuss that a little bit more. Erik and Lyle Menendez are found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy. In July 1996, the brothers are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. At the time, public opinion on this, and it still very much is very much a 50-50. Good evening, Tara. It's still very much a 50-50. And this is why these kind of discussions are quite interesting, because I always like to hear what other people's opinions on this is, because when you first look at it, it does look like an open and shut. 2 boys have decided kill the parents and try and find mafia. mob, mafia, whatever, and they've gone out and spent lots of money. But then, like I said, it has been proven that they actually spent less money, and the conjecture of them, of the expenditure that they did after the murders was lesser than what they did when the parents were still alive. So they had pretty much access to unlimited money no matter what. Now, the brothers' convictions and sentences had been upheld through appeals until 2024. And in 2018, Lyle was transferred finally to the same prison as Erik, reuniting after 2 decades. Now, I did mention this, so the 2024 to 2025 resentencing, that's only because they didn't have... Yeah, it could be that they didn't, because they didn't initially have access to all the money. It could well be. So, but the money that because they still got to have a significant amount of the inheritance no matter what. And they've pretty much depleted this with all the appeals. No, I agree, pay devil's advocate, that's absolutely fine. That money's depleted. That money's pretty much gone. There isn't really much money left in regards to this 14 million with all the appeals, all the special witnesses, etc. That was all gone. However, because of the resentencing movement, now I am going to read this out. Now, before this was before the murders, and this was the Christmas before the murders. There was a letter written to their cousin, and this was to Andy Cano, who had testified in the first trial, which the prosecutor in the second trial had dismissed as lies. The letter's existence and content could possibly have had significant impact on the jury's perception of the case and the credibility of the abuse claims had it been followed. It says, "Hello Andy, how are you doing? I hope better than I am. It's been a long time since we've been in touch, too long. I wish we could have seen each other during Thanksgiving. We almost did. We were all set to go and then my parents decided not to at the last minute. Mum said the flights were too expensive. She said we could wait till Christmas. But even then, I'm so sorry, the writing is quite faint writing and it's kind of squiggly, so I apologise. They've never made this clear at all. I've searched everywhere for a clear one, but they've not. They've taken it literally as the pictures off, so I apologise. But now they've decided that I'm playing the Fiesta Bowl and that it's not worth it just to fly out for a few days. I was all excited to see you and some high school buddies, but I'll have to wait, I guess. Mum and Dad had a company party, something, and Dad hired people to decorate the whole whole house and brought a huge tree that they had brought from Santa Barbara. Actually, they had to bring 3 since Mum didn't like the way the first one looked. They were pissed. They also decorated the tree. Where's the Christmas spirit written that? I remember when Lyle and I used to decorate. Times change, huh? At least I got to put up my own stocking and one for something in velvet. And Rudy and Velvet, obviously animals who are fine, by the way. Mum isn't doing too good. It's like she's here physically, but mentally she's just like gone, if you know what I mean. She freaks out over nothing. I feel bad for her. I don't know why she puts up with Dad's shit. At times I wish I could talk to her about things, you know. Someday, especially Dad and I, but the way she worships him and tells him everything, I so afraid she'll tell him whatever I say. I just can't risk it, Lyle. Got in a huge fight with her over why we couldn't spend Christmas with the rest of the family, and Mum freaked out and said if he wanted to go, he could go along. I just don't know why she wants to hurt him like that. Lyle wanted to stay with Dad, but Dad wouldn't let him. So now I'm stuck here. I apologise. It is not the best writing as well because it's quite faded. So I apologise about that, me stopping and starting. I've read this before, but even then I found difficulty reading it. And because I'm reading it out loud, my eyes are refusing to focus on the specific words. So I apologise. And I'm sorry if I'm missing any comments. Esther or Chris... actually, I do need to mod somebody else, actually. But Esther and Chris, if you get a second, if I've missed a comment, once I look up from this, because I couldn't just see all the likes, can you just pin them if there's been something that's been said, if you don't mind? I'm so sorry. Lyle wanted to stay, but Dad won't let him, so now I'm stuck here alone. I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I can't explain it. He's so overweight that I can't stand to see him. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. Every night I stay up thinking he might come. And I need to put it out of my mind. I know what you said before, but I'm afraid. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me 100 times about telling anyone, especially after Tyler and I am a serious wimpus. I don't know I'll make it through this. I can handle it. Andy, I need to stop thinking about it. Anyway, I hope you're doing good. How's your new girlfriend, Alison? She sounds pretty great. When I do get to meet her, I can see why you don't want to leave Puerto Rico. Something I hear you're playing a lot of soccer. It sounds great. I love soccer, etc., etc. But he kind of says it in this letter, and just show at the end there's the Merry Christmas, and this was before the murders, and this was Erik sending this to his cousin. Now, it was only after Andy died that this letter was found, and this does point to or allude to something is going on in the home. Within the home, something is happening. It's in his head. It's all he can think about. He doesn't know when it's going to happen again. It's got worse. His dad's overweight. He can't bear it. Everything is pointing to abuse. This letter wasn't seen in the first two trials. And it was not mentioned at all in the second trial in the slightest. Andy didn't testify neither. Now, if this letter had, and this is a genuine letter, it's not fake, it's not falsified at all, this has got court documentation in it, so of course we know it's evidence. It's evidence that was there. If this evidence was presented to the jury at the time, I think the jury would have had a different stance on this, and do I think that they would have been convicted of first degree murder? No. There is evidence, documented, paper trail evidence that something has happened in the home. I'm sure in the first trial, Kitty spoke to her, I want to say her sister, but I might be wrong, a sister or a cousin, one of the two, because of something that had been said. And so Kitty knew about the abuse, potentially as well. And again, we do have to say alleged abuse, but that's a letter written like it's a victim of something. Which, when I read this, way back in, well, it was 24 when this was released. I apologise. I don't actually have the date off. I don't have the date of this, but this was when the petition for writ of habeas corpus, and that was obviously for them resentencing ultimately. All of it's there. And even reading the little bit that has been highlighted, I've been trying to avoid it. And it's still happening, Andy. No, I've been trying to avoid that. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I can't explain it. He's so overweight that I can't stand to see him. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. Every night I stay up thinking he might come in. I need to put it out of my mind. I know what you said before, but I'm afraid. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me 100 times about telling anyone, especially Tyler. It's there. Yeah, I do agree. Skelly, I'm not disputing that in the slightest. It is a mitigating circumstances though. So, and when, I wonder if the cousin was questioned as a letter, seems to. So the cousin did take the stand, witness stand in the first trial. And that it was prosecution that said that it was a load of lies, that he was discredited, that and he never got to say his piece. But the letter wasn't found until after he had died. It was in amongst his belongings. So the cousin did come forward and was in the first trial. Unfortunately, he wasn't in the second. They decided not to even put that in. They've done it on the basis of lies. But it is what is known as special defence and a mitigating circumstance in regards to this. That to me sounded like a young man that was scared for their life. And yes, different back then, probs guys wouldn't get believed. Actually, in a little bit, I'm actually going to go through a couple of bits on the on Hazel, as she was on the jury, on the hung jury, and she's got there's a few little bits here in regards to some things. I am going to be careful about certain language that's used. I won't use all language verbatim because I can't. It's derogatory term, so I can't use the specific term that is used in one of those bits. Like I said, I've read this, I've went through it. It's kind of crazy when you actually go through this. But obviously, I'd obviously spoke about the resentencing. This was that letter that I read out. Thank you so much, Sarah. That letter that I read out, that was only found, that was presented to the DA's office or prosecution when they were discussing the resentencing and if they are entitled to a resentencing. Now, under Californian law, because the brothers were under the age of 26 when the murders occurred, thank you so much, Skelly, they became eligible for resentencing after decades in prison. Former Los Angeles, thank you, Hattie, former LA District Attorney George Gascon supports reducing their sentences to 50 years to life, making them eligible for parole immediately. And despite opposition from the new DA, a judge agrees, and in May 2025, a judge resentenced them to 50 years to life. Last year, the parole hearings. I'm not going to lie. I was elated for the brothers when they decided they were going to do resentencing. Utterly elated. I was so incredibly happy in regards to this. I did a video on it on my now lost account. I was so happy for them. I'd followed this for so long, and I saw all the holes in the Netflix series, but that's fine, because it was so they've ultimately been given they've ultimately been resentenced. So initially it was life without the possibility of parole, so they were going to die in jail. But because of the Californian law, and the age that they were, and because of the new evidence that came to light, there is a mitigating circumstance in regards to the crime that they actually committed itself. And oh, Hattie, thank you. Everybody grab a coin when it comes up, and well, I know that some of you actually go live as well, so even if you're just sharing the love with other creators as well, just where we heart me and their fan club, they'll appreciate it greatly. So thank you so much, Hattie. Now, like I said, I was personally elated that we were going to get the parole hearing. I knew that both brothers had done a lot of work in prison to rehabilitate themselves. Yeah, so in prison you'd still do things that are a little bit naughty. No, and then you know you're in jail and you've not got a lot to do. So art supplies were listed as one of the negative things that the brothers had. Making wine. There was some drug use. Thank you so much, Esther. There was some drug use when from one or both. But in August 2025, both Erik and Lyle were denied parole after hearings, and the parole board highlights concerns about remorse and risk assessments. I think, personally, with the remorse argument, it is because I suppose the sexual abuse is classed as circumstantial evidence. So they are not, the parole board saying this as they've not taken accountability, they've not accepted what they've done. I do think, I personally do believe that the brothers deserve to get out. I do believe that they have spent 30 odd years in jail. They will be able to petition again for parole in 2028. I'd watched a lot of YouTube videos after this. Thank you so much, New Generation. It's very appreciative. Oh, thank you. Now, obviously, there was afterwards, there was people that had been released on parole that had obviously discussed things as well. This isn't a full loss. Yes, 3 years is a long time to wait to be taken in front of the parole board, but it is their right. It's their legal right because they have been resentenced. Their family, which, thank you for the follow, which includes obviously, but their family, which is Kitty and Jose's family, have both said that they've all said that they want them home. They want them to come home. They were devastated, utterly heartbroken at the decision that was made for them not to be released. But it's not the end of the road for the brothers. It's not the end of the road for the brothers at all. They still have the opportunity to be released. Now, I'm going to read. I've marked the pages. Okay, I've done what you're not supposed to do in dog-eared things. I mean This was just the first trial. This is where the hung jury had obviously come in, and remember there was two separate juries. There was a jury for, yeah. I agree with Esther. It is a little bit dramatized. I'm angry on the brothers' behalf that they made something of Erik and Lyle's. Oh, thank you, Hattie. And please make sure that people are following. Oops. Let me just pin Hattie. Please ensure to everybody give Hattie a wee follow. She's a fellow Scot. She's awesome. And like I keep saying, and I will always keep saying, we are, as much as I'm talking about things like this, as you know from my birthday, which was a week ago, because it's been a week since I've been live, I like to have a bit of chill time fun as well. So thank you, Mon and Lisa, appreciated. So please do follow each other back. Go look at their content. Wait till the end of their video before dropping them we like as well on their video if you watch it as well, because then so remember to support each other. Okay, it was Hattie that dropped the coin in, and I was, like I said, to if you get you can choose to put a heart me here, or you can go to somebody else that you follow and drop them little heart me as well. You don't have to use it just here, okay? So you can go spread the love to other people, go to support each other. The votes for if they were guilty or not in the hung jury was quite interesting. So Hazel, I keep going back to that, they had said, well, actually it was a chronology of events. So the final vote of Erik's jury regarding the death of José Menendez, 5 said guilty, 1 of first-degree murder, 1 said guilty of second-degree murder, 6 were guilty of voluntary manslaughter, which I think that they should have get. Oh, and 0 was guilty of involuntary manslaughter. It wasn't involuntary, it was voluntary, but you know, I still think it should have been the voluntary. But as I say, it was so close. It was a hung jury. They couldn't decide on whether or not it was anything like that. So, and then you got the final vote for Erik's jury regarding the death of Kitty Menendez. 5 said guilty of first-degree murder, 3 said guilty of second-degree murder, and 4 said guilty of voluntary manslaughter. And the final vote of Erik's jury regarding conspiracy to commit murder, 5 guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, 1 guilty of conspiracy to commit second-degree murder, and 6 were not guilty of either charge. And I got it wrong. Actually, Lyle was a bit longer. Lyle's jury was 139 hours. So his was the 25th of January. Erik's was the 13th of January for 106 hours. And Lyle's was 139 hours because his was the 25th of January 1994. This was the first, of course, as well. The final vote of Lyle's jury regarding the death of José Menendez: guilty of first degree murder, 3. Guilty of second degree murder, 3. Guilty of voluntary manslaughter, 6. Guilty of involuntary manslaughter, 0. Final vote of Lyle's jury regarding the death of Kitty Menendez. And, I was going to say it's pretty much the same, but it's not. 3 guilty of first degree, 3 guilty of second degree, 5 guilty of voluntary manslaughter, and 1 guilty of involuntary manslaughter. And the final vote of Lyle's jury regarding conspiracy to commit murder was 3 said they were guilty of first degree, 3 said they were guilty of second degree, and 6 says not guilty of either charge. That you can't get more out of a hung jury if you tried. That's actually insane. Actually, think about it. It should have got a second degree murder. Yeah, like I said, it could have been, the second degree murder it can still carry 25 to life. But if they had have got the 25 to life, thank you very much, Tara. Last year, well, actually when they were re-sentenced, they might have actually just got out. And I really hoped that the DA was going to pull through for them and just be like, yeah, we'll just let them go out after Labour Day, but that never happened. But 3 years is all they need to really wait now. There was the jury, jury number 9 had actually said that they thought that some of what was presented was a little bit disappointing, and they hoped that the trial would end a little bit more dramatically. There have been 400 plus exhibits, and according to Ben, who kept track, we have seen a total of 108 swear-ins. And then obviously you had some of the jury were celebrating birthdays, etc. I mean, during all of this, what's going on when both juries were deliberating, one of the brothers celebrated their birthday because I share a birthday with them. Can't remember what one it is now. I want to say Lyle, but it could be Erik. One of them was born 10th of January. Same as me. The highlights of the closing statement. So, I'll go for the DA. Erik's worst crime was yelling "shut up" to his father once. Kiriyama talked an awful lot about Lyle in front of Erik's jury. Kiriyama never did cross-examine Erik about the molestations. The prosecution did not call any expert witness to refute any of the defence's psychological expert witnesses. Kiriyama called the defendants' names. The defense never called Jose or Kitty's names. Court TV brings out the volunteers, Detective Valentine, Grant Walker, Jamie Pisarek, and she called Detective Valentine a perjurer and says prosecution knew he was lying. Plus, he contradicted another of their own witness, Pat Hefferman. Kiriyama stood in front of a bulletin board full of gory pictures. Abramson left them up so their shock value would wear off. At one point, she stuck pins in the photo of Erik's genitals to demonstrate what he claims Josie did to him as a child. Speaking of shock value, Abramson described the possible verdicts: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. The imperfect self-defence involves an unreasonable but honest belief that your life is being threatened, in which case manslaughter would apply. perfect defence applies to reasonable thinking that it is not just a crime. Most of us have heard one way or another that a judge had ruled out the perfect self-defence acquittal. The people at work seem to think that this would make it easier on the jury and it would make them happy. And this is in the words of the jury. Well, for all I know, it was going to be all or nothing. So I don't see how having several choices in between will help us decide everything. Her closing argument, the defence's closing argument is Erik's a good person who did a bad thing. He doesn't want your sympathy, he wants your understanding. The point here is not that Jose and Kitty Menendez deserve to die, but should never have had children. The prosecution doesn't have an explanation for why the killings happened when they did. They kept changing the motives. If you didn't know anything about Dr. Ozell, think of it this way. Menendez came to him in 1988. A year later, the children killed their parents. Isn't that recommendation enough? Lyle admitted to having fired both fatal headshots to parents. There is no direct evidence that Erik killed anyone. Given the circumstances of his life, Erik responded reasonably to the situation. Show the charts listing characteristics of Jose, Kitty and Erik and lists of fear-inducing behaviours on the part of the parents. Would we feel different if Erik were poor or if his name was Erica? A plan to defend does not equal a plan to kill. It was like that. I've said that. If this was Erica and Linda, would the outcome of this case would it have been any different, or would it have been exactly the same? Now, I need to find this person again. She had randomly appeared on my old TikTok one day. And she was the granddaughter, of somebody who had, there was some proof of some sort of abuse that was going on in the family home. And the grandmother took out the abuser. And it wasn't questions like the person that done the murder was a female, obviously. Like I said, it was a grandmother. She had left her dead mother in the bath for a while. Dead. Gone about day-to-day life. Spent money was what she would have normally have done. And that person was then freed. Moved back into the family home where she killed her own mother. And nothing was questioned. Obviously, it would have been questioned to a degree, but it wasn't questioned in regards to the way Erik and Lyle have been. So I always say, if this was Erica and Linda, would this have been exactly the same outcome? I personally do not believe that it was. There is evidence to show that... Oh, I just realised that came way down. Oh, never mind. I don't know why I'm not being able to see that now. That's annoying. Wait a second. I'll see if I can fix it. I'll not even touch this, so there we go. I'll take it off and put it back on, see if it works. Apologies. I don't know why the hell it's been doing that. You've seen me. I've been sitting back chatting. So I will open up the comment section. If you want to pop up in the box to have a wee discussion about this, then just pop in a request. I'll have a wee look out for the red dot popping up in the guest. But you're more than welcome to come up and have a wee chat about this. If you think that after hearing all of this and hearing the letter as well, if maybe your mind has been changed, or if you do think that this is open and shut, this was two young men that decided they wanted the money, and so they killed their parents. So I'm putting it to you then in the comment section. Just please be respectful to each other. That's all I ask. Because everybody, we wouldn't be human, like somebody had said, when Miragels and Scally, the birthday, when we were discussing things. I can't remember now. Obviously, everyone's different. Everyone's got a difference of opinion, and that's when if everybody thought the exact same things, then it would be pretty damn boring. You all heard my stance on this? Oops. Wee jigsaw puzzle. Don't know why when I've been... Oh, sugar. I had to do this now before the live ends. Oh, God's sake. Because of my nails. I couldn't see if I was doing the puzzle correctly. I've probably washed my hands like about half a million times and soaked my hands in hot water as well, and my nails are not coming off, but I'd really want to lose them at the moment at the same time because they're nice and sturdy, but quite strong nail glue. But anyway, let's go back through the comments because I know I've missed something. Apologies. And I might have lost 2 marks. Skelly, you did say something, but I missed what the comment had said. Thanks to the puzzle piece. I was going to say that everybody's got a different opinion and they're entitled to it. So I agree. I personally believe the abuse and that was a catalyst. I agree with that, Hester. I was going to call you Hester. I have no idea why. I agree. I have watched so many clips. Well, I say so many clips. Some of them are like 3-4 hours long of the original case and the testimonies, and the brothers kept breaking on the stands. Like every time they tried to talk about things that had happened, they kept breaking. Like, I'm not going to call you Fister. That was funny. Yeah, they did. They cried a lot. Like, you've seen. We've all seen Gypsy, Rose, Lychard. Systematic abuse. That one brother passed on and did the thing that they could. That's very, very fair. Voitar. There's a break free. And yeah, the letter does back up and there was red flags in the house. Yes, 100%. But see, some do say it was, but like crocodile tears. So that's actually a really fair evaluation. I mean, when I was reading this, because I'd marked bits off of this a while ago. They talk about I do think I'm not. It's difficult because I'm not an expert. Obviously, I just talk about crime. And some of the body language people on YouTube. But was it crying too much for it to be real, Skelly? So. Like what Mirangel said earlier on, right, when and I've just completely lost what I was going to say. That is really bad. I hate my brain sometimes, I really do. I completely... Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, but then there's trauma there. And that was it. So Mirangels had obviously said earlier about I can't remember what it said about the letter. Yeah, because any victims were crying and made it dead. It was like, it was a show. Brain fog, yeah, is bad. Brain fog is so bad. It's really annoying. Yeah, it was about sexual abuse and when it comes to a man. We now know a lot. We now know that courts actually do take sexual abuse for a male a lot more seriously than what they ever did. But Skelly, we've seen that. How many other trials would they have actually seen about abuse victims? The defence might have, but you can only coach so much, and it was a consistent. It was like the breathing would hitch at certain points where they were trying to answer a question. They were trying or try and keep themselves calm, or when. I always forget what one, but when they were having the issue with the microphone and they kept up and the microphone kept getting moved and stuff because it was difficult for projection of the voice and stuff. Some of it when I watch some of it, you kind of go, well, the evidence was kind of the way they were. But who's to say how much a victim should cry though, Skelly? Like, honestly, I'm not, I understand, I totally get where you're coming from, but I mean, sometimes trauma presents itself in different ways. And if you felt that you had to hide, not even great victims don't cry like that, understand? But then I'm sure I've seen something. Well, actually, okay. Right. So, Skelly, just for that comment right there. Okay. So, it's because I think it's because of the word that was used. Right. So when what is my? Yeah, when that is true, everyone does deal with trauma differently. So even though I never got to see the full in and out of the case that was to be presented because the judge had to recuse himself and because of potential yes, there is that as well, but because of potential jury bias, I couldn't continue. We couldn't be continued with the jury, so there was going to be it was going to restart with a new judge and a new jury. But there was this was about the case that I was going to be a jury on was about consents. So we know where this is going, whether or not she agreed to it or not. This victim couldn't come into court initially at all. And you could hear her begging not to go in, like hysterical. She was completely and utterly hysterical. And some people might have said that was over the top, or a display, or that it was fake. I mean, she did take the witness stand. She couldn't even say what her name was. She was so hysterically crying. And we ended up having to go on a very early lunch. Very, very, very early lunch because of this. And we were on lunch for much longer than that hour that you were supposed to do. Because the witness had to be calm before they could talk. But even when she came back, you could see how much she had cried that whole time. And I actually genuinely believe it would have taken the slightest little thing to set her off again for her not to be able to talk again for ages. And that was about consent. So I think in a generalised basis, I think trauma displays itself in different ways to different people. Some people can be so stoic in regards to what they're talking about and they seem to show no emotion at all. And they can sit and talk when they were asked certain questions. No, but then I generally do think there is some display of remorse about what happened, because there must have been that point of regret. He wouldn't have opened up to his psychiatrist. There was a video where Lyle reacted to a simple chair being moved. That was oh, why is it not letting me see the whole comment? Goodness. That was a flight response. Yes, you've got flight, freeze, fawn, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and there's a fifth one, and I can't remember what the fifth one is now. But I don't know, I think trauma displays itself in specific ways, and if they had been going through emotional and sexual abuse since they were infants, given the fact that that's been an elongated amount of time that's gone on over many years, and they felt like I kind of understand where the maybe the tears are, but I can understand where people are saying that it looked like fake and it looked not real. I can see both arguments, because I've tried, I do, that's why I'm saying I'm opening up to the comment section, and I know that I'm very vocal about what I think, okay, so I am quite biased in my opinion, but I am happy to listen to other opinions. And like Skelly, you even said yourself you don't think it was actually first degree after I read out that letter. Just as a for instance, that was all. Just as a for instance. I am so sorry. I am so incredibly sorry. To share a little bit of, I said it briefly when I was talking about people standing behind other people, when I said that I went through something. I was 9, and it was somebody close in it's okay, I can see people now, so it doesn't bother me. I was 9, it was somebody in the house. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say too much. But for the longest time, when I eventually spoke about it, I couldn't talk about it, one, unless I was absolutely hammered, like wankered, and then when I did start, that would be when the tears would start, and it would become hysterical. Mind you, alcohol would have obviously. Oh, honestly, Miraculous, it's absolutely fine. That was that's 32 years ago now, so you know. But I mean, but it took me a long time to be able to talk without getting upset about it. And then once questions started, and I tried to go, having to mean I drank, but I don't drink no more. It's again, it was a response being, I think. I don't think I cried on my birthday. Oh, thank you, Mirangels. It's really kind. And my inbox is open as well. I mean, it's why I say that I'm quite happy to be a victim's voice. You know, especially if we don't have a voice as well. And that's why I think that maybe potentially, like when I'm hearing about cases like this, it's why maybe I am very much like swayed a little bit more in the defence, and it's probably why as well. So she never knew. Oh, I'm so sorry. It sucks. It's possibly why initially I believed what the defence had told us about Gypsy Rose, and obviously that turned out to be, well, untrue. Anybody wants to see that live that I did on that, by the way, I didn't do any videos at all. I'm on YouTube. The live recap is on there, and at Banana on YouTube. If anybody does want to go over and watch that recap that I did, well, watch the live recap that I did of Gypsy. It's not as long as some of them. I think it was only about just over an hour with that one. So And you can see my view on Gypsy and how I believed, and I continued to say that throughout the live when I was discussing Gypsy as well, that I initially believed Gypsy. I was a supporter of Gypsy. I believed she should get out of jail. But the information on the brothers has been out for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. I will do. I'll actually. I'll share my. I'll share my profile on my Discord. But no, the live that well, actually, to be fair, I didn't come into the live, but I was just like, I did it anyway because I thought, oh, she 100% is a master manipulator. And a lot of people will look at that my worry, because of everything that's coming out about Gypsy, that people are going to see these two as the same. Like, I don't see them as cold-blooded murderers. I see them as victims. They did something wrong. I am not disputing that at all. They should never have killed somebody. There was ways that they could have went about it. But it is a mitigating factor. It is what's on the special defence. It is, you know, I suppose a person can only take so much. I mean, in general, and they thought that they were under the belief that they were going to be killed. And that letter that I read out says it all. Do you know, and I do see them as a victim. I do agree that what they did was wrong. They should never have killed. But I do agree that they've served their time now. That I do believe that they have served their time now. They have rehabilitated. People will pass the point of no return and break. Agreed. And that was Gypsy's argument. But that's what I'm worried about as well, is the fact that people are going to say, oh, well, it turned out that Gypsy lied. And we all believe Gypsy. So maybe we didn't believe Erik and Lyle anymore, because did they not say that their parent, that they were victims of abuse? That's what my concern is about. Like, I think these two are more credible than what Gypsy is. And that letter kind of alludes to something dark is going on at home. Something that has made him afraid of his own father, and sometimes something that makes him worry about when it's going to come, because he doesn't know when it's going to come. So, and that was Erik. So, like, that's why I believe them, and that cemented it a lot more. I mean, I think in this book it had some of the, it's got some of the Polaroids where, is he getting touched inappropriately? Is it a bit wrong? You know, there was the Polaroid and it was Kitty's handwriting on it, and the way the hand placement, can't really look on that, because not fully, I don't think. But some of the pictures, was it appropriate? You know, again, the amount of days, weeks, yeah, talking about him being overweight. That's a very much a victim response. Very much a victim response. But it's just weird. I mean, when I was reading through this, when I read through this the first time I read it through, I actually sat and just read it back to back. That's why I decided that I was going to go talk about this. There was it screamed to me that the main ones that were very much like, no, he's guilty, he's this, was the males in the jury. That's where Netflix had got right. Females sympathised, males said that it was an out and out lie. And yeah, when they talked about the abuse as well, one of the male juries said, so now we can talk about the F words, which was no, I've missed something. Yes, may have been preventing them to come forward about it. Agreed. Oops. I keep trying to see what's getting written. I think it was just a sign of the times when men weren't the ones to cry abuse. Agree with that as well. And now it's taken a bit more seriously, thanks to the Menendez case. I didn't have a lot of only for injection. I've missed something. Oops. Back then, did kids have their own law, human rights, or was it still Animals Kids Act? That's what I was missing. Well, I don't know, because the California law rule was only brought up in 24. And for what we had heard, it was pretty much everything was exhausted by then, because every appeal had upheld it. So I would need to find out how long that law had been in place for. I know that California have the death penalty again, but they've not given somebody a lethal injection since 2008, and a lot that are on death row, that's fine. A lot that are on death row are not going to get it at all, because it's just the way it is, unfortunately. I think in regards to, because if anybody asks me about what, or anybody that has seen it, text us. If anyone that knows me or has been following me for a long time knows that I agree with the death penalty in specific circumstances. Now, when it comes to something like this, I don't think they would have got the death penalty anyway. Given their age. I don't think, I would have to look into that a little bit more. But I don't think they would have went for the death penalty. But I think in some cases the death penalty is needed, because there's some people that will never change. In the UK, one of the biggest mistakes they did was abolishing capital punishment, because I totally agreed with that. Hang on. Maybe not that. Maybe we need to be a bit more humane. Is that the right word to use? I mean, concept. Or 25. About 25, I would say maybe about 25 years. But second degree murder can carry a prison term of 25 to life. It does tend to mean if they get 25 to life, if they've got the means of parole, appealing to the parole board to get out after 25 years. So it should have been a possibility. And also, because the Californian law states that because they were under the age of 26, their sentence was a bit harsh for them at the time of the crime. Do I think they were sexually assaulted? Yes, I do. Do I think Kitty knew? Yes. Do I think they were going to get killed? No. Do I believe that they believed that they were going to be killed? Yes. Because it's very easy to make that assumption when something bad is happening to you. I mean, you're getting told specific things. Hi, Chantal. Yeah. See, one of the things that really confused me about their parole getting refused was how menial their things were. They kept going back about the mobile phone. Yeah, they shouldn't have been on mobile phone. Yeah, they should have been on social media. But how many accounts have you seen on TikTok but it's inside the jail? I have seen so many. Apparently, it goes against community guidelines of TikTok if you are incarcerated and you are on you are live streaming from a jail. I reported them and they don't get taken down. Allegedly, it's no violation found, even though they're in prison, and even though one of the community guidelines things is the fact that you report them if they've been in prison. So there is, for everyone knows that I think there's 2 on here, but I shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed. But the mobile phones, I think that was a bit harsh to say that means that they were a danger to be out. The making the wine in the toilet, I think I've heard so many stories from loads of different ex-convicts that have been out, not for murder. One was a gang thief and the other was a diamond thief. I watch The Strangest Things, okay? But it's just because the jail stuff, like, you never hear about that sort of type thing. Lockdown 23 and 1. No, I'm going to be, obviously this recap's going on YouTube, so I need to be careful what I'm saying. Although, to be fair, I'm small fry's never going to see it. But I don't know. I think they rehabilitated. Things are a bit daft getting caught. The fact that one of them was in trouble for art stuff, you know, paint and stuff, and I was like, but Jodie, yes, she did. She did have a lot of rights up in prison, and she got out. And what makes it even worse is there is no way in hell you could ever say to me that she was not drunk before she did that drunk live afterwards. No way. She's so really, you know what. And also, her and her wee bestie Brie is a addict and was around her at the time. That goes against your parole violations. It's a parole violation straight away to be sitting with a user of, or I don't know what is the it begins being M. I don't know how that's taken. I'm so naive. But anyway, that's what obviously Brie. Yeah, but I don't know how that's ever taken. I don't know if that's, or if it's, I don't want, you know, I don't know. Or if it's smoked, I don't know. I've never taken stuff. Cooked it. Sorry, that made me laugh. But it's, I feel sorry for the brothers. Really do. I stayed up until, was it 4 or 5 in the morning both nights. You can have a puff just to do it. Comes this way. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have actual local cameras. Yeah, that stuff. Thank you. Oh, and is it? No, because that's Adone. And that's initially in liquid form, so like medicine. And then it's given away in tablets. No, it's different. But fun fact, I used to work in a pharmacy. I was a Saturday sales assistant in a pharmacy, and there was a lot of recovering addicts at said pharmacy. In fact, it was full up and we couldn't take any more patients. So I knew a couple, and I used to sit with them whilst they took their drinky drinks when they were first in. It was easier on them to for them to know somebody. I was only 15. I just, they thought I was a nice person when I was a bairn, so, you know, they asked if somebody could, they had somebody to come in with them, and they said no, and they went, oh, can, they knew me, so I used to go and sit with them until they had taken their drink and drunk the water and was there for the allocated amount of time until we knew that that was in their system. They couldn't just go. That does happen. Which is gross, but it does happen. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think they were really harsh with the brothers, but it was a significantly bad crime. 16 shots, you know, there's been time to be reloading. The mum tried to get away, Kitty tried to get away and was gunned down in the process, you know, so I get it. It was a violent crime. Incredibly violent crime. I mean, I've seen the full pictures. What I was surprised at when I was watching that 911 call, because I've seen multiple, was the start of the video. You saw maybe a little bit too much before it was blurred out. I think my face went a bit at one point just because of what I could see. I suddenly went, that shouldn't be on YouTube, but yeah, it's. I know it's two. I always knew it was two different things, but I didn't know how you take specific things, if that makes sense. Because I'm trying to remember. Does anyone remember the? I'm going to take the picture down now. Just because oh, why is it not going away? I'll take that down now because that was a lot of me talking at you. But does anyone remember the raccoon in the body cam, the police body cam, and the woman gets the one they drink is for the injected stuff. Yeah, that's for H. We'll just call it that. But the raccoon in the it was a body cam. There was a woman that got asked to come out of her car, and the raccoon turns round and it's got a pipe in its hand. Is that not used for the methadone stuff? Yeah. Was that not? Is that not the one that Bree, Gypsy's pal, got in trouble with having in her car and admitted to being an ex-user of said? Excuse the fact, I'm just trying to open my juice. I'm not wanting a violation. Again, I come feel like a undesirable part of Edinburgh, where all the bad stuff happens. I'm going to sit like this just for a little bit, and I hope I didn't get caught with TikTok. It's just a cigarette, by the way. It's no the funny devil's lettuce stuff or anything else. I didn't touch that stuff. But I don't like. I remember thinking something smelled disgusting on a bus one day, and I thought somebody was just having a fag. Oh, you're not allowed to say that word. Sorry, I'm Scottish. We still use that word, but I thought somebody had just sparked up a cigarette. Well done, Scully. True, your clean is quite good for Mr. Green. The devil's lettuce. But I think I smelled something weird. Like, hey, what's that smell? And it turned out to be somebody was dragon chasing. And I didn't know what that was. And I said to one of my friends, I was like, what's that person doing? Good night, new generation. Thank you for being here. Appreciated. But I'm saying to my mate, I'm like, what's he doing? And they're like, shut up. I'm like, what's that smell? Because I was completely clueless. And they then said, we got off the bus and they were like, you're not very quiet when you're trying to be quiet. You've got a really loud whisper even, and it's bad enough when you're talking, so can you... Oh, you got... How do I... Can I pin that? I don't know what this does, you know. It was, you've watched my live for 500 minutes. Yep. So you get a wee sticker. Oh my goodness, you have all been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all the taps. I never even noticed, but it came up there that you had watched me for 500 minutes, so I thought I'd give you a wee thingy. Oh, but anyway, I found out that it was Chasing the Dragon, and also found out it was crack. A crack could be anything, right? But I heard it when I found out it was that, and I was like, oh. And I was like, why would they tell at the bus? Especially the fact they had a bear mum. And that made me go, and I went away off in a big rant, and she told me, my mate told me to shut the fuck up because I was being silly by saying this out loud when I was walking about the street. Like, that's a conversation to have when you're at home, and I'm like, but that's disgusting. I was mid-20s. Void's got a really funny story about that. Actually, Void, does one want to come up? Just be careful with what you're saying. I did say I was going to open the boxes. Could you invite... multi-guess you. Okay. I'm just saying with this. Does anyone else want to pop up in the box? As soon as we're just chatting. Oh my goodness. Skelly, that's insane. Oh, it's insane. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Surviving.
Right, be careful with what you're saying. No, I wouldn't have been impressed with him either, especially in front of a bear. In front of a bear, that's the do what you want and you're in home away from your children. But don't do it on a bus, in front of people, in front of your kid as well. Because if they're doing that in front of their kids on a bus, what are they doing at home? High horse here. It irks me a little bit. It makes me really mad. Go and tell your funny story, but be careful about how you're saying it so it doesn't...
I will say what I want, but I'll try not to.
Try and make it PC. Tell them about that hug my name.
The very nature of the story isn't PC. So I can talk about someone fucking... Oh, there we go. You did so well not swearing this whole time. And then, well, obviously I broke very early. Anyway, right, so I was at Hogmanay. It was last year. And I had a friend, I say a friend, an associate. Because he doesn't like me, I don't like him, but we get along. It's one of those. And everyone's obviously getting pissed. And he brings out a bunch of sniffing powder. and then is really offended that no one wants any. So anyway, things go on, and we're all drinking. Some people are smoking certain green things, and then he turns to me and says, "Well, wouldn't you like some refreshing crack?" And he's got the fucking, the little pipe thing with the wee bulb at the end. Totally fucking smoking crack. Refreshing crack, though. Why is it refreshing? I don't know. I really don't know, because I told him to fuck off, basically. Mr. Green.
Oh, that's quite funny. That's an auto highlight. I just got a notification to say that was an auto highlight, so that's going to be a highlight on my.
What?
That's
Me?
fine. I'll...
Refreshing crack?
That's quite
It
funny.
wasn't me. His name's Scott. He's a bastard. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand it. I mean, I remember seeing things when I was growing up. Refreshing Scott, apparently.
No, there's nothing refreshing about him.
When I was growing up, like I said, I got born and raised in in quite a horrible part of Edinburgh at the time when before the high rise in specific areas got pulled down, and some of the sites that I saw at the local shopping centre was.
Oh, tell the story when you went to the wee shop. The wee begging person.
So, okay, so I got a story today. Okay, so I went to the wee shop, and there was somebody outside that had got money. I don't know how many people she had asked, don't know how long she was there for. She was with somebody as well, and when she was going into the shop, she said to the person that she was with, because he wasn't there when she left the shop. Well, that was a lot easier than what I thought it was going to be. They went to get a drink, like drink, adult juice, and come out.
44, what the fuck it's called.
They came out, and where the bins were, where cigarette butts had been dropped, and where dogs do their business, she was picking up used cigarette butts.
Fag ends. Aye.
No, don't say that word.
It's what we call it.
I know, but I already said it. I can't say that word.
I know I heard you, but
I said it and then realised what I'd said and went, oh, not allowed to say that word. That word's a bad word. Because it's used in an incorrect context, I suppose what we say, what we would know it as. We're not allowed to say that word.
have different ways of expressing different things.
Oh, no, like somebody, like some poor person who I think comes from Scotland, said that word in a group chat, in a group on Nosy Book, and people jumped all over him because like the comments were, you can't say that word, you're not supposed to say that word, and
Well, fuck them then. Sorry, but like, that's just an excuse to give people shite.
I've heard it called doubts. I just call it ends. The F ends. No,
The worst thing about it, though, let's get back on track. The worst thing about it is I've seen that area. The amount of dog piss and shit, God knows what's on them. It's like those people who do, what are they called? Airbnbs. And they put the little key thing in places where dogs piss. Like they're low down, and damn right dogs piss on them. They be key unlocker things. Because damn right they do. If you're going to an Airbnb, better fucking wash your hands once you unlock the door.
Yeah, they do put quite a little down on the trees, don't they?
Well, they're definitely pissing on them. Definitely. And even then, it's not even just dogs. Drunk people.
Yeah, careful. Try not to say that word.
Trying. It's difficult. I've caught myself so far, so it's fine. But yeah, fat cigarette ends.
Smoke ends. That was what Skelly suggested to call them. Smoke ends.
God, that reminds me of the old days where when you were out the green herb, you'd take all the roach ends and try and make a new one. Especially when it was soapy.
Yeah. Do you remember the AI tracks your conversations in this, by the way? So
I'm
careful.
being very careful.
Hello, Bob. You coming up? Come on then.
And besides, AI loves me.
Come on. Bob's meowing to come up. I've made sure to pull my chair back, and he's just sitting, well, standing with his paw up on the arm in my chair, just staring at me, purring.
Oh, just grab wee Bobby.
Come on.
I've been hearing the bell for the whole time. There we go.
Say hi, Bob. Look, you got an audience. You have an audience. Look, watch. I'll fix your wee bow tie. This is Bob. This is who steals all my money.
This is Bob. Bob is good, but sometimes
He's a wee rascal. Ain't he? See, Bob's still got his baubles. So sometimes he can be naughty. But he's adorable, but he gets away with a lot.
he's
He
been a
gets away
good
with too
boy.
much. Oh yeah, have you seen the wee bow tie? It's adorable. Look, he got it for his birthday. I actually bought it from a TikTok shop. He's so cute. But because he's still got his baubles, he can sometimes be a bit noisy and he can be a bit vicious sometimes. Eh?
It's the resting bitch face on them. Look at it. That's the evil eyes.
Oh, you don't want attention. Look, the audience love you. Yeah, you'll be the favourite part of the night.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, it's almost your lies. Yeah, they do. To be fair, it doesn't actually bother them. Like I've asked the vets if it causes. It's more a female. There's more that can. Well, I know that a boy can turn vicious, and it can make them a little bit more vicious. But if you saw how clingy he was, anyway, you would. There is times that you would think that he never had his wee baubles, but he gets his vaccinations. He's all up to date with his vaccinations. So, and vets always said that he's nice and healthy. Even well, so Skelly, he was doing that a little bit, and then I got an enzyme spray, because it was suggested to get an enzyme spray, because it doesn't just mask the smell like what the wee cleaners do. It actually gets right into it and neutralizes it in general, so it's not masking it, it's properly clearing it. It also works as a deterrent. And the only thing that he's done, that the only time that he's punished me was after Christmas because he was on his own, and he peed on a blanket. But that's the only thing that he's done. He's actually very good. and he only actually ever he only really does that if he can detect a female cat outside. That's when, if he's done something, because I have seen him go right up to the wall underneath my where his toy box is and stuff, and lift his tail and pee on that one bit on the wall, and that's because there's been a female cat. There was also a female cat that used to jump up at the window all the time. But Bob didn't like, used to hiss and go absolutely berserk, but would obviously like mark his territory. Like, oh, how old were they when they went to Rainbow Bridge? If you don't mind my asking, that's just such a nosy question, but they're family, aren't they? So couldn't be with it. Well, both for 12 years, decent ages. Bob just turns 5 in December, so he'll be 6 this year. And no, vets are the vets have always said that he's a healthy wee boy. Black cat and a tabby. No, tabbies are so cute. Tabbies are super cute. It was actually the story me getting Bob. So before lockdown, I was promised a cat. Then that fell through, and then I was promised a kitten during lockdown, and that fell through. They gave it to somebody else. Then I was promised another cat, and that fell through. Then I was going to foster a cat for somebody, and then that fell through. And then Bob, I got a message from an old workmate asking if I still wanted a cat. And I immediately went, how much? And she was like, I'll take that as a yes. And I was like, yeah. But there's 2, and I was just like, because she showed me a picture of Bob, and it was immediate. I saw him, and I was just like, I need to have this cat. And I'm like, how much for? I'll send the money to you now. Blah 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 blah. Like, was immediately like, I'm going to secure this. I'm going to lock this down. And she went, well, no money needed. I was like, what do you mean? Can't just take a cat for free? No money needed. I send them updates on. I sent the person updates on Bob ever so often. And he came with his litter tray that he still uses. It's one of the wee hooded ones. A load of food, litter, 2 dispensers, which I got rid of because it was causing him to have cat acne. It's bad enough as it is, but it was a million times worse when he had the plastic dispensers, the water and the dry dispensers. Loads of stuff that he still actually has. Carrier came with him, and all sorts, and I got him for free. And went to Falkirk to get him. Well, I got a lift to Falkirk to get him, but he was fine. The first day I got him, he did come up to have a wee sniff and to see who I was and stuff, and then he would hide in the bathroom, and he had a wee squeaky meow, which he still does have a lot of the time, but then because he knew that he knows how to get round me as well, but he was a meant to be. I wasn't meant to get the other cats that I was promised, or the cat that I was going to foster, because I was always meant to have him.
Because we believe in wee Bobby.
If you've not seen Void's video, or a couple of videos, Bob is a wee co-star in a couple of Void's videos, and Oh, that's how I got Angel. Someone giving away on Facebook, and my sister was like, "Oh, that's sweet." Love cats. Was brought up with them. Yeah, I was brought up with cats as well. Cats, birds. I had hamsters. An adult, I had cats. Then I had rabbits. Then I had bearded hamsters. I like animals. No, it's just one cat though. Just always have like two.
And Dolly.
Oh yeah, we go up with our Dolly. That's your dogs and you. Oops. The dog's in the picture, eh? Scally. Rabbits are so much fun. Rabbits are so much fun. Like, I always wanted to take. Temperamental. What's a tegu? Tegu. I don't know what that is. Is that a type of cat? Am I being weird? I'm not good with cat breeds. I know Bengals. Tegu. No, there was a big lizard thing that can grow to about 4 or 5 feet and have a bad teenage face. That's funny. My black Labrador used to play with the rabbits. That is so cute.
That'd be cool.
See, lizards are kind of cool. Had bearded dragons for a while. Their poopies are disgusting, and having to feed them the live food is absolutely gross as hell. Crickets and worms and stuff. Oh, he says lovely, especially if they had a nice temperament with your bunny. I used to have a friend that had a dog called Shiloh. She was a Rottweiler, and she absolutely loved both of my rabbits. Scruffy was a bit hyperactive for her even, but Shiloh treated Tom like a baby. I've got a picture of Tom just sitting lying on Shiloh, where Shiloh was all laid out, just relaxed on the couch, and now it's a cute wee picture because that's how comfortable Tom was with a dog. A big dog at that. Rottweilers are no small, even the small Rottweilers are no small. See, but that's credit to you for the way you cared, loved, and brought up your dog, that he was so good with disabled kids and other animals as well, because dogs can have a snap temperament, can't they? So, oh, animals are awesome. They are just toddlers that don't grow up, though. But oh, but no, total credit to you for dog being well behaved like that. So well done, you. I'd love a dog. Bob wouldn't allow me to bring a dog into the house, mind you. Little Labrador. It's
You
such a
would
good name.
adapt.
Bob used to get to play when they were when they were putting new insulation bricks on the outside of the building, and then they put obviously new fascia thing on the building. The scaffolding used to be up, and he used to get to run out that window and run about all night. But if a dog came by, Bob would come in growling, and he used to have a unit as opposed to my bed underneath the window. And he used to sit underneath the window ledge, and he would sit and growl like the dog would be afraid of a wee cat like that. But it used to be really funny. Bob doesn't think he's a proper cat. I don't think. Shih Tzus are cool. There used to be these Shih Tzus, these two wee Shih Tzu crosses that used to live on the street on my way to primary when I was a kid, and I used to get to sit and play with the Shih Tzus for a little bit. They were so much fun. They just wanted all the loves and attention. Mine came yet. I'm probably not the best person. Oh, I bet you still are the best person for her. Well, don't say that. Sorry, I'm just having a wee look through. Because like it sounds bizarre, but all I see is like it just popped up there. Well, actually, Esther shared a live, but all I see is Void Heart like the live, and like the live, Esther like the live. So that's what I see, and obviously that comes up like loads. So when I'm looking for comments, it's not that I'm missing your comment at all. It's literally a case of sometimes you just don't see it because the taps are singing. I can't believe how many taps that I've got. Look at you guys go. Thank you so much. You are so sweet. Mine's sleeping my pillow with me. She's just a comfort dog. Oh, she sounds so cute. The Shih Tzus are awesome. They are just cuddly wee things. Just cuddly wee things. I'm trying to think about there was something that I was going to talk about tomorrow, and you know what? It's completely lost. It's completely out of my head. Oh, okay. I'll leave it for. I'll let it run to. And mind you, that's a lot. The pets are just amazing. Like I'll never understand how somebody can like hurt or abuse a pet in any way, shape or form. Because
Well, only a certain word would do such a thing. The word I can't say.
no, but I just don't understand how they could, because like when Tom was going, I couldn't obviously her insurance stopped for her after she hit a certain age. When after she hit the age of 7, I couldn't get insurance for her foot paid for the nose. So I was just like, oh well, I've got a credit card there, so if she needs any vet treatment, I'll just put it on the credit card. But like Tom got everything she wanted and more. She was a spoiled wee bugger. I never ever. She did used to have a mate, but because of her age when he had passed, I didn't think it was fair to introduce a young bunny to an older bunny. It didn't seem fair. So she stayed on her own, but she was fine. She liked Bob. And well, she ruled the roost though. She was funny. Breaks my heart knowing someone can be mean. Yeah, me too. I actually saw a post of some women that quite badly neglected our doggy, and was only banned from having dogs for like 2 years. It should be a lifetime ban. You get done for neglect, it should be a lifetime ban, not just like a couple of years. It's horrible. These are appalling. Those, do you remember? Does anyone remember the SSPCA adverts or the RSPCA advert, depending on what part of the country? Yeah, it is shocking, my angels. Depends on what part of the country you're from. Whether be when they go and rescue the animals, and the animals are just like so scared and timid, or really skinny, or yeah, I think it should be a life sentence. I think so as well. I mean, the animals are so defenseless. So defenseless. And Bob's sitting there in a mood on my radiator because I had him in front of the camera too long. Do you know he used to be absolutely fine in front of the camera?
they are defenseless, but at the same time, with so much abuse, you could make them feral, where they become dangerous, and it's not their fault. They're just reacting. Especially with dogs, you always find a bunch of them. They're emaciated. They're fucking. They got mane. Is it mange? You know, where their fur kind of goes to shit. Um, and if they're not like timid, they're aggressive. But you can't blame them for that.
No, it's all on the owner. Can't watch these adverts to make me cry. Used to make me cry as well, actually. I think because they've showed it so much, it always touches you there, but I don't get the same feelings what I did when I was younger, when it used to really like get to me. But I hate hearing bad stories about it. It's the same with when I'm doing like the most difficult cases for me to cover when I'm doing my true crime stuff is obviously the kid cases. Myra was Romanian. One been homed a few times. Aggressive. Oh my god! That's horrible. 6 months is young enough to be able to change that behaviour. Shouldn't have ever been put to sleep. Definitely confront.
Well, normally it's once they get to 1 year. That's when other dogs start treating them like a dog. They can sense when they're under a year, they're a kid, basically. And it's just a thing. Dogs bite. It's not necessary. Bob bites, right? You know, like it's not a thing. A little bite is nothing.
Bob
It's
bite us.
they mouth you. It's how they test things. Uh,
Oh, that's horrible. Like, what do these people go to them? Yeah, they will, but then that's just an instinct. I mean, like you should see what I'm like with Bob. Like I play fight with him, and I've not got any scars. I've normally got like wee dots. Thank you so much, all of you,
I've
for
still
the
got my
100.
dots. I've still got my dots.
But like, I think that wee bit was actually him. Like, I'll play fight with him, like pin him and stuff, and he'll be like, and be all the bites and stuff. It's just if he goes too far, that's where I'll stop and be like, nah. But I've normally got like wee dots on my hands. Mm. But
I
like,
think I've still got a couple of scratches and maybe 3 dots.
I've got like loads of scars on my legs for where Bob's decided I'm just going to grab hold of you,
Oh yes.
scratch you. I just got to attack your leg just because you walk past me and I'm in a hyper mood. That's the worst I get from Bob. I know that if he got the baubles snipped off, I know that he wouldn't be like that at all. But you know what? It is kind of funny, especially when I'm going, because there's times that he thinks a bit like a kitten and he'll try and climb up my trouser leg and stuff like that as well. It's really funny. But no, Bob will be in a playful. I get jumped on in the bed and it's just gripping on.
To be
Could be
fair,
worse, Esther.
he's been a good boy recently for a good few months. Let him keep his boss.
It could be worse, Esther. Bob likes to jump on me, or he's done it to Void as well. He'll be on the floor in the
Just use my
kitchen.
real name. It's fine.
Yes. He'll be on the floor in the kitchen and he'll jump up and he'll land on the back. And it's like claws right in the back. And it hurts. But he's just want attention. And I'll carry him about the house like he's with me supporting his bum, and he'll just sit with his paws on my shoulder, just like a backpack, and just like wandering about. They were wandering about the house with him on my back, and then he'll eventually come up on my shoulders and do all the wee kisses and my face and stuff. He's really cute. I could they might get clingier after they've had they're clingier after they've had the bubbles done. Eh?
I said, I know he does it to me too.
It's funny. He's cute.
Claws clamped in, but wanting attention and cuddling at your face. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to call it tonight. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank you as well for the discussion back and forth. It was a good one to have. I will make sure to get this downloaded and popped onto my YouTube in the next day or two. I think I've still got a couple left that I've not actually done, so I need to get my arse in gear and actually do that. I'm not sure what to talk about tomorrow, or if I'm just going to do a chill out, just a chit chat one, maybe. I've not quite decided yet.
We do have a couple ideas, so
yeah, we've got a couple of cases that were quite one. They're both bad.
Oh, they're bad. They're very, very bad.
They're both disturbing. Both got justice. One got justice years and years later. But justice nonetheless.
Really a bad one, that one.
I had to be careful what I show on that one because of specific injuries that were there. Obviously no fault in the victim at all, but I have to be careful what I show. But I do have a couple that I'd like to talk about. One will probably need to take a while to go through it all because it's quite a big, significant case. So I'll probably need to start earlier that day, but I'll need to make a proper decision on when that's going to be. But there's plenty to talk about.
Oh, those ones deserve justice. They deserve effort. Their story needs to be told.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, I'm gonna go. But thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for all the taps. I can't believe you've got me to 103k. You're amazing. Thank you for sharing it out. Thank you for the gifts. And thank you for the follows as well. So I will see you all on the mean streets of TikTok. Take care of yourself, everybody. And again,
I love.